This one won't be that long. I just really don't want to keep people waiting while I'm trying to get my content together. I got a lot of content in my mind, stored in my brain. And I'm watching a lot of stuff going on in the world right now. And because of the type of things that I want to address, it's taking a little bit of time for me to put my thoughts together because I don't want to rant. I know the first video comes off like what it was meant to be, wacky inflatable arms. The whole idea was just to, you know what I mean? I'm here. And for those that understand me and know where I'm coming from, they know what they're going to expect. But the world is a stage. You know what I mean? I know that's some famous person's quote. I'm going to say a lot of shit that people quote about, and I'm not going to quote anymore. Because it's the information that matters. It's not where it came from. Nothing that I'm going to say isn't researchable. I don't talk about things that other people can't find out for themselves. I'm not egotistical. I'm not narcissistic. I don't need to be right. I need information to be circulated, like we all do. But the whole world is a stage. People are characters. So I'm listening to brothers discuss behavior and character of people. But we got to understand, man, where we've come from with this. Most of what we think about one another and what we think about our reality stems from fucking TV. What we know about history, most of us know it from TV. Our population is cut up into percents. You got 85%, and some of you are going to know where this comes from, that are dumb, deaf, and blind. You got 10% that are aware of what's going on, and they capitalize on the ignorance and the lack of determination and drive from the 85%. And then you got 5% of us, the smallest percent, which are a like-minded people who understand individualized purpose and how we relate to each other in society. So within this percentage, now we go back into what the matrix is, what this simulation is that Brother Kwame Brown keeps talking about is. The simulation is a stage. You think about Hollywood. You think about the way that a stage is set up. If they want you to see the Hollywood sign from a certain position, they can create with engineers and with people that are in the carpentry and woodwork and design, and they can make the Hollywood sign. If they want to convey the idea that a man got punched in the eye, they get makeup artists and they come up and they'll put makeup around his eye to such great detail that when the camera picks it up, it actually looks like this motherfucker got beat up. They can put teardrops in people's eyes to simulate crying and sad. The world is a stage. Every one of us is a fucking character. People are either playing the character that they were born to be, or people are playing characters that have influenced them throughout their lives. The best characters would be parental characters, but we already understand what's going on with that. Parental characters are failing right now in life because of the status quo, because of the system, because of the way it's established. They don't want us to be guided by what's coming from inside. They want us to be guided by what the stage determines. This is trending. This is what's popular. This is the herd mentality. All these things are constructs. They're creations based off of people who are writers, producers, and directors for life. You call them the go along, get along gang. We know what we're not trying to call them because we don't want to be labeled anymore. It's time for us to stop letting people say what we are and just be who we are. So if your character is undeveloped, develop yourself. Read. Have conversations. Meditate. Find the peace and the calm in yourself to be able to articulate yourself and listen to the positions and points of others who are also characters on the stage. The interesting thing about being a character on the stage, right, is that if we're on a stage, then is it theater? What form of theater is it? Is it a play? Is it a musical? What is it that's going on? And this is dictated by what whoever controls the stage thinks that the audience wants to see. What it is that the audience wants to see currently in our world is what dictates how the world moves. It's your economical policies. It's your policies on education. It's your policies on black people and crime and violence. It's your policies on the family. So they put these people on the stage. And some of these people are such great actors that you actually think they are who they say they are. You think that they feel the way they feel. You think that their passion and their ability to communicate with you in the way that they do because they're in front of everyone is honest. Do we do more honest stuff in private, or do we do more honest stuff in front of each other? So if you know the answer to that question, why the fuck would you ever believe anything that's going on the stage? Why are we convinced that what we're fucking viewing is the reality when you have 5 fucking senses of your own? 6. But I don't think any of you are really ready for that, to understand what the 6th sense is. And that's not me being arrogant. I'm willing to tell you. I can point people out to you that can give you an extreme education and a awareness of what that level of overstanding is. You got brothers like Brother Panic. And I have to be careful and be a gateway, because I don't want my brother, this man that I value his perspective, to be over inundated with people who can't understand what he's saying, because that's when we start having problems. You're a stage actor. You should know what role you're playing. And if you're playing the role of the person that's yourself, is there a place for that on the stage? If you don't fit in that demographic of fucking hypermasculinity or the alpha male, or you're not a beta male, like, your senses tell you all of that shit is not real. I am a man. Why am I a man? Because the universe gave me hair on my fucking face. Allah doesn't say, and I'm only commenting on this. I have a lot of respect for a lot of spiritual practices. I'm not going to be one that's going to demonize or condemn anyone. But Allah says that he gave man a facial hair to separate the boys and the girls. He didn't talk about their genitalia. He didn't talk about the jobs that they do. He said, I gave man facial hair to separate him from the girls, from the woman. Something as simple that you will always see. Some men can't even grow hair. You start losing your hair on the top of your head. You start freaking growing hair all over. And you can't control what that is. That is just the nature. So when you're looking at these dudes that are presenting themselves as alphas, or someone else is a beta, or this, I'm not saying that everyone who says this is a bad person or should be scrutinized or watched in that way, but think about how many men use this, or things that call themselves men use this to define themselves and to make others feel inferior. So now I take it back. The world is a stage, and we're all on a stage, and we have roles. If you're playing your role as a man and you feel offended by the way other men are acting, and those other men are in groups that support and solidify their behavior, you might be onto something. Now the rest comes to you trusting yourself. Why do we have a hard time trusting ourselves? Because imagery is so fucking powerful. YouTube, Facebook, ABC, CBS, NBC, HBO, Showtime, Paramount, Warner Brothers, all of these networks and institutions that are designed to sell you fucking imagery. Sometimes you got to close your eyes and listen. Sometimes you got to stop listening and just watch. Both can be equally deceptive, but the one thing that we understand in this age is that you can't believe everything that you see, and you can't believe everything you hear. And the anxiety that comes from that is that you either don't feel connected to society or reality, and this creates all kind of disorders and diseases. Or you find yourself withdrawing from society. Now, being a black male, a black man in this country is significant. We're different. We're different from our Jamaican brothers. We're different from our African brothers. There's just something about the story about how all of this came to be that just doesn't make any sense when I'm dealing with other men of melanated or copper tone. What are we? Who are we? These questions are not going to be answered by spending all our time watching basketball. They're not going to be earned or come to us by spending our time chasing the bag, chasing women. It comes from a desire to understand thyself, know thyself. Before we make any moves politically, before we organize, before we do anything, we got to start teaching each other how to just be who we are. You got to trust you over what you're seeing in front of you. This is not that long. I may come off a little bit cryptic for those that don't understand, but we're going to get to it. I like to give all praise to the ancestors and the elders, the prophets and the messengers. Appreciate you guys tuning in. More to follow.